It's official, the White House and the US have an AI czar. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. The rumors that Donald Trump was planning to appoint an AI czar to oversee AI policy have come to fruition. They are true, and we now know who that person will be. Now, these reports started surfacing a couple of weeks ago. First, there was reports that there would be a crypto czar to oversee the crypto agenda. But then it came out that Trump was also thinking about appointing an AI leader in a key White House position, and that in fact those two things might be bundled together. In the immediate aftermath of these reports, there was a lot of support for this idea. The Center for Data Innovation said, appointing an AI czar signals that the incoming administration is placing AI at the forefront of its agenda, and rightly so. As the lead for federal AI efforts, the czar should focus on two key priorities to help fulfill the president-elect's economic goals: accelerating adoption and safeguarding U.S. competitiveness. And indeed, this is what it's felt like this role was going to be all about. In other words, regardless of who was appointed, it seemed like the criteria was going to be someone who would be hard driving at U.S. leadership in these areas. Well, last night, President-elect Trump took to Truth Social to announce his selection. He wrote, "I'm pleased to announce that David O. Sachs will be the White House AI and crypto czar. In this important role, David will guide policy for the administration in artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency, two areas critical to the future of American competitiveness. David will focus on making America the clear global leader in both areas. He will safeguard free speech online and steer us away from big tech bias and censorship. He will work on a legal framework so the crypto industry has the clarity it has been asking for and can thrive in the US." Trump's announcement post also noted that Sachs is going to be the head of the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, which serves as a policy advisory group consisting of private sector and academic experts across a wide range of scientific and tech disciplines. Of course, when it comes to the AI and crypto czar role, given that it's brand new, we don't know exactly what it will entail, or how much authority Sachs will actually have. Some reports have suggested that the main function would be to act as a liaison between Congress, regulatory agencies, and the Oval Office, ensuring policy is coordinated across government. But as of right now, that's speculation. A lot of the discourse following the announcement is all about Sachs himself and what we know about his takes on these particular issues. Sachs is actually quite familiar to lots and lots of people, and that's specifically because he hosts the All-In podcast. All-In, aka one of the very few technology shows that is consistently ahead of the AI Daily Brief on the charts, is a conversation between Sachs, Chamath Palihapitiya, Jason Calacanis, and David Friedberg. On that show, because of the nature of the show's content, we've had a long-term chance to see how Sachs and his co-hosts think about a wide range of issues. Philosophically speaking, Sachs is definitely aligned with the little tech agenda that was articulated earlier this year by Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz. In their original post, they wrote, "Little tech is our term for tech startups as contrasted to big tech incumbents. Little tech has run independent of politics for our entire careers, but as the old Soviet joke goes, you may not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you. We believe bad government policies are now the number one threat to little tech. We believe American technological supremacy and the critical role that little tech startups play in ensuring that supremacy is a first-class political issue on par with any other." Sachs, for his part, has long warned of the excessive power of big tech companies, particularly in relation to free speech. And while his resume is likely already well known to this particular audience, to briefly recap, Sachs started his Silicon Valley journey as the founding COO of PayPal. You might remember this photo from a few years ago about the PayPal mafia, and you can see Sachs over here, just behind Peter Thiel. During the social media era, he created an enterprise communications networking tool called Yammer, which was sold to Microsoft for over $1 billion. He was extremely active as an investor during the SaaS wave through his firm Craft Ventures, and one of his big plays for the AI era was a Slack competitor called Glue. Generally, Sachs' strength has been as an operator and business advisor in the startup world rather than as a technologist. He was one of the first to suggest extreme belt tightening in early 2022. This ensured his portfolio companies could extend their runway to wait out the difficult funding environment that followed. Essentially, he has a strong knowledge of the pitfalls and blockers that can limit the success of startups, and that could make him well-placed to remove those types of blockers from his position in the White House. One thing we don't really know a ton about is how Sachs thinks about AI regulation. He's not a super prominent AI investor and hasn't expressed a lot of strong views as he has around other things. Then again, that might not be an accident when it comes to this appointment. So far, the Trump administration's major policy on AI has been a promise to repeal the Biden executive order with no clear position on what will replace it. And it may be that if Sachs's mandate is to tear down the barriers to US dominance of the AI sector, the role is less about AI and more about cutting red tape. Sachs was certainly one of the earliest and loudest Trump supporters in Silicon Valley. He hosted a $300,000 a head fundraiser at his house over the summer, which broke the cone of silence around Trump support among leaders in tech. Back in June, he wrote a long post on Twitter/X called Why I'm Backing President Trump. He went through his reasons, including the economy, foreign policy, the border, and lawfare. And ultimately, that fundraiser and the conversation that went with it was an important moment in shifting the Overton window when it came to tech and Trump. Now, in his role as White House advisor, reports are that he won't be required to divest of his business interests as the role is only part-time. However, under ethics rules, he will be required to recuse himself from decisions that impact his holdings. Sacks is not an uncontroversial person, and there are some who expect very negative things from this. Y Combinator founder Paul Graham over the summer said, "I know he's an awful person from things he's done." Crypto trader Ludwig Wittgenstein said, "The levels of grift and corruption we're going to see will astound even the most sturdy of real businessmen." The response from many in Silicon Valley, however, was resoundingly positive. Sequoia partner Sean McGuire posted the announcement with the comment, "It's time to build." Brandon Brooks, a VC at Ohio-based Overlooked Ventures, wrote, "People told me I should hate Sacks, we should be diametrically opposed. But in reality, David gave me the most respect out of many people in the world of venture, engaged in intellectually honest convos and opened my eyes. Congrats, David Sacks, earned." AI entrepreneur Bindu Reddy writes, "Congrats to David Sacks. I hope he continues to be a huge fan of open source AI." Amjad Masad, the CEO of Replit, said, "This is fantastic. Sacks and his firm Craft have been one of the most useful and thoughtful investors we've had. So I'm excited to see him bring the same spirit to the rest of the country." Even Sam Altman squeezed out a meek endorsement, tweeting, "Congrats to Czar David Sacks," with Elon Musk responding with a crying laughing emoji for what it's worth. Now, when it comes to this question of whether it really makes sense to have AI and crypto bundled together, crypto lawyer Jake Travinsky had, I think, the best take here. He wrote, "For those questioning if crypto and AI belong in the same policy portfolio, realize that the prime directive for government to follow on both is this: get out of the way. Yes, the time will come for new laws and regulations, but first, David Sacks can free builders to build." Then again, maybe the most important point is the one from Mr. Ingo, who says, "David Sacks' appointment proves you can do anything you want if you podcast hard enough." Can't think of a better way to wrap this episode. Appreciate you listening or watching as always. Till next time, peace.